Hey guys, welcome to Say Stephanie. So today I'm going to show you how to bake mac and cheese. I love mac and cheese. This version, however, is going to be vegan and gluten-free. So it's a comfort food, it doesn't leave you feeling sick, and it's delicious. Let's get to it. Ingredients can be found in the description below this video, and I wanted to also let you know that I've adapted this recipe from Jessica in the Kitchen. She had something listed: vegan baked pumpkin mac and cheese, 1 skillet. So I pretty much just used this recipe, and it's great. So let's get started. I'm just gonna cut half an onion. I don't need the other piece of onion. While I'm doing these things, I like to have a trash can nearby. It makes it much easier for cleanup. Let's get some coconut oil. Yeah, I kind of dropped it. And I'm just going to take about, I don't know, a couple of teaspoons. Just going to put enough in the pan that when I'm frying up the onion and the garlic, it doesn't burn, and there's enough to coat everything. All right. I'm going to get the pan heated. I'm going to turn it up to kind of high, medium high. I'm using sweet onions. I usually use them for most recipes unless a different onion is called for, just because I like the flavor of them. Is there ever a point where your eyes just stop watering after chopping onions? Oh, gosh. Alright, there we go. Alright, and now I'm also going to chop up some garlic as well. I smash the garlic because it just makes it easier to take the skin off. Alright, let's put this in the pan. I'm going to start with the garlic. Now, the recipe that I was following online says to put the onion later, but I like to get the onion a little bit, I guess, caramelized. I don't know. I like to get them cooked a little bit more. So I add them earlier. Alright, we got the onions and the garlic sauteing right now. I love that smell. Now while I'm doing that, I'm actually going to get the oven heating to 350. You're just going to cook that for a few minutes. I'll probably cook it on medium high for 3 to 5 minutes. You want the onions to get a little bit translucent. Alright, while that's cooking, I'm just going to add a little bit of sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding some of the ingredients into this mac and cheese. So I'm going to start with adding some Earth Balance butter. It's a vegan butter. And this calls for 3 tablespoons. Alright, so now it calls for a whole wheat flour. I'm going to use gluten-free all-purpose flour. It's about 3 tablespoons of that. I'm just going to sprinkle about that into the pan. Make sure to really mix that flour in so there's no lumps. Alright, I'm just going to take that off the heat for a little bit. I'm going to add in some ground mustard, about a tablespoon. I'm going to add in just a little bit more of the salt, not too much. Add in some 1/4 teaspoon of ground pepper. I love pepper, so I'm going to add just a little bit more to that. I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of sage. Just mix that all in there. Now I'm going to add almond beverage, unsweetened. I'm going to add about 3 cups. Add it in slow. That way that you can give an opportunity to the flour that you just added to stir in and not clump up on you. Just going to turn up that heat a little bit. All right, that was 2 cups. Here's the final cup. All right, I'm going to add in the pasta now. The recipe calls for 2 cups of elbow macaroni. I actually get this brown rice quinoa fusilli pasta because it's gluten-free. It tastes really good and it cooks pretty fast. And I really like it, so I'm going to use this for this recipe. I just like to add, I like to keep on adding pasta until it seems that I've filled up the pot without, and allowed the liquid to still submerge all the pasta. So let me just show you. Let's do that. All right. So just keep in mind the pasta, depending on what pasta you get, it's probably going to expand as it absorbs the liquid. So don't put too much. This looks just about right. I might be able to fit a little bit more. Okay, I think I'm just going to leave it like that. And also, depending on the pasta, if it's one that takes a little bit longer to cook, you might want to cook this a little bit ahead of time. I'm not too concerned about this. If it absorbs the liquid by then I'll just add vegetable stock or water to rehydrate the dish and allow the pasta to get a little bit softer. Keep in mind too that we'll be transferring this to another dish and putting it in the oven for a little bit. So, you know, you want to get the pasta to al dente, not 100% over. You don't want to overcook it. You just want it to be just perfectly cooked. So I'm just going to leave this in here for a little bit, let it boil. All right, I'm just going to turn down the heat a little bit to medium. Just want to mix it around just a little bit. Make sure nothing's getting burnt. This looks good already. Depending on what pasta you're using, it's going to take different cook times. I believe this pasta takes about 7 minutes. So you're probably gonna be cooking this for about 7 minutes, I'd say. Maybe even less, because we still have more things to add to this, so. It's getting very, very thick and creamy. I love it. Okay, so it's probably been about 5 minutes in. I'm going to start adding organic pumpkin. I'm going to add about 1/2 cup. What I end up doing is I just add half the can. Like, the best reason for using pumpkin, I wouldn't even say for flavor or what have you. I actually like it because it makes the mac and cheese look very cheesy. It gives that like really cheesy look. So I'm just going to start adding about half the can in here. All right, let's mix that in there. I'm going to turn down the heat to low now. And you can see it just makes it look like that Velveeta cheese. Looks so good. I'm going to add some coconut milk. I usually add coconut cream, but this was already open in the fridge, so I figured I'm just going to add a little bit. And the reason I like to add it, I'm going to just add the chunks that are floating in there. Coconut milk and coconut cream, it has some really delicious, it adds that fat into the dish that you'd be missing with meat or dairy. And I think it just gives it like a fuller flavor profile when you add a little bit into it. Not too much, you don't want to get that coconut taste, but I find just adding a little bit just adds that little bit of oomph. All right, just keep on mixing until you get the pumpkin puree mixed in the whole dish. All right, let's try one of these. I like to try the pasta to see how cooked it is, see if it needs more time. Okay, that needs a little bit more time. Okay, I'm just going to get a little piece of pasta, see how it is. Perfect, it's al dente. So at this point, now I'm just going to, I'm going to add the cheeses, and then I'm going to pop it in the oven. So let's do it. So here's this mozzarella style shreds cheese alternative, and then there's this another mozzarella style shreds. The recipe calls for 2.5 cups total of the 3 different cheeses. Can you believe this? I opened this upside down. How does that happen? Just add some of that. All right, make sure to leave the cheese out because you're going to be adding a little bit more to it on the top of the dish. Okay, just mix that in. I'm going to turn down the heat again to probably the lowest setting because right now you're just mixing and melting the cheese in. Whatever vegan cheese you get, you should get one that is, that will melt, because if it doesn't really give that really delicious mac and cheese effect. All right, so that's all mixed in right now. I'm going to get my oven-safe dish, and I'm going to pour this mixture right into the dish. I'm going to take some nutritional yeast. This has a good Parmesan flavor to it. I'm just going to add a little bit on the top. About 2 tablespoons of that. And then I'm going to do just probably 1/4 cup of cheese on the top, just to give it that nice cheesy look. All right, so shut that off. We got our delicious mac and cheese. Now we're gonna just pop that in the oven for about 10 minutes on 350. While I'm baking the mac and cheese, I'm going to get the broccoli ready so we can add that in the mac and cheese and it's even more delicious. Okay, so I'm gonna get a pot of water boiling. I put about 3-4 cups in there. You're just gonna wanna put enough water so you can submerge the broccoli. And I'm going to be cooking about 12 ounces of broccoli. It's just this bag of broccoli here. One thing I'd like to do, I always like to season the water with some sea salt. So I'm just going to add a little bit of sea salt. About 2-3 tablespoons. It's just flavoring the water. You're going to drain it afterward, but I like to have it seasoned. All right, we got it boiling. Let's go ahead and add that broccoli. Okay, so I'm gonna cook this broccoli for probably about I don't know, 3 minutes? Not very long. I'm just gonna push the broccoli down so that they're all in the water. Throw that right back on top. I'm gonna lower the heat to high. It's still high, but not as high. Let's do this for about 3 minutes. Okay, so the broccoli is almost done, and the mac and cheese is done. So I'm going to take that out of the oven. Ooh, look at that. Oh man, that looks good. I'm gonna shut this off. I'm gonna move this to the side for the broccoli because that's pretty much done. All right, I'm gonna take the broccoli over to the sink and I'm gonna drain it. Be very, very careful because you can hurt yourself doing this. But I just slide the lid so there's a little opening to drain that water out. Okay, so the stove is actually off, but it's still hot. And I've taken the lid off the pot. And I'm just gonna let the broccoli heat up. It's gonna heat up all that excess water that I don't want in there. Just so we can get that water that I wasn't able to drain. And then I'm gonna just take some pepper and I'm gonna grind it right over. Now from here, you can go ahead and add the broccoli straight to the mac and cheese. But I like to give my loved ones an option of adding the broccoli if they like or not adding the broccoli. So I'm just going to keep it separate. Oh yeah. I'm just gonna put a little bit right now. Look at that. Ooh, looks good. Oh, that's good. That is good. All right, well, feel free to like, subscribe, and I hope to see you again on Say Stephanie.